Welcome to another episode of Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds. I'm Dustin.
I am Bo.
And this is the podcast that talks about all the things you love.
Out all the hate.
That's right. It's good to be back, and gotta tell you, I'm super excited. You want to know why, Bo?
No,
we have two special guests with us today. They come from one of my favorite podcasts, Podcasters of the Universe, Jeremy DeWitt and Steve Biesiada.
Hey.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
And I gotta say, you'll remember Jeremy from a previous season he was on, and we got to talk about Turtles and all kinds of good stuff and his music. Steve, this is the first time you've been on our show.
It is the first time, but I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited, too. I can be excited, right?
Yes, you can be all kinds of excited.
We're going to allow it.
Yeah, we'll allow it this time and every time here on After.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've actually
Awesome.
wanted to have you guys on together for like the longest. It's like one of those, every time we get together, it pops up in conversation.
Yeah.
We should get them both on the show.
Yeah, I think it was... Because I think, just to tell the origin here, I met Jeremy through the Turtles group, and I was like, hey, he's a cool guy. He's positive, and he likes turtles. Let's have him on and talk about turtle stuff. And then I told him about our podcast, and he's like, your podcast sounds like my podcast. And I'm just like, really? What's your podcast? And he's like, told me about it. And I'm like, that sounds cool. And then after he was on the episode, I was like, we should have a crossover episode. And so we've been trying to make that happen. Finally made it happen. And gotta say, it's been fun. And I feel like, I know you guys don't know me that well, but I feel like I know you guys because by listening to your podcast, and then I also get to listen to you both on your Steven's other podcast, the My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me podcast, which is a toy podcast where it's the exact opposite of this podcast, where they sometimes talk about toys, but mostly just, make fun of each other, which is fun.
Something happened with their show, and I long back because I didn't start listening, because I do listen to it now, but I didn't listen to it from the beginning because I didn't know these guys. So when I started hanging out with them stuff, like I slowly started listening to their podcast, and it was like some were good and some were, it was like, okay, I know these guys and stuff, but like all of a sudden something happened. It was like, bam, they were on fire like every episode. And I want to say it's because they're just shredding into each other like more often than not. I mean, there is some toy talk and stuff like that. Which is cool, but like, it's more fun to hear them just rip on each other.
It's a podcast built on hate. The best kind.
It's a more podcast.
Yeah.
No, it's not a podcast built on hate. We actually, we're all actually very good friends, and we just have a ball ripping on each other. And hopefully people like it and get it and understand that after the mics are off, we're laughing about what we said, about who and blah blah blah, and having a good old time. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it reminds me of all those friendships I've have had throughout the years where, a buddy of mine that I work with, we're constantly just making fun of each other and sending inappropriate jokes back and forth to each other all the time. And I constantly tell my wife, it's like, look, only open my phone if you want to see something bad. Because I guarantee you, if it's from this person, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, and plus, like, go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna say, that whole thing. I like to think it came from me being insecure, because I wanted the show to be funny. I never thought it would turn into what it is now. But when we first started recording, I was so nervous all the time, and I would make myself feel better. I said to the guys off air before we started recording, I said, man, if I say something stupid, as long as you guys beat me up for it, then make it fun. it's okay. I feel like it's okay. I'm not going to get a laugh out of it. If I say something dumb, beat the heck out of me. And
Yeah.
they did. And then, but then it kind of has gotten progressively more and more and more. And as I've gotten comfortable, I fire back. And I don't think anybody fires as much as Pete, but
yeah,
that's
Pete.
I get kind of defensive sometimes listening. I get a little, I'm possessive, so, me and Steve, our relationship's a little newer. So when I hear his old boyfriends, messing with him, I want to stand up, I want to take him out. But then inevitably I end up laughing. So I'm like, well, it's all good.
Yeah, and it's definitely all in good fun, and I find myself in the support group even going in and ripping on you guys too, getting my share, and I don't even know you guys. Other than
that's the cool thing too, is like they're immediately accepting of like, go ahead, just tear us all up. Like I got people I don't even know how to pronounce their last name, and they're ripping into me, making fun of me about my love with Steve or something like that, and I'm just like, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for. I mean, everybody wants a piece of the end that makes them feel that they're part of the show. And I can't say that there have been a few things that are said that hurt. You're like, ooh, but then I just got to think about it and be like, yeah, it doesn't. It's fine. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really mean anything.
There are a few times where I've been like, it's like, oh man, I just said that. And then I go and message you, the four of you guys, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just joking. Like, it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I'm waiting to get kicked out one day because I said, because I inevitably will have made Pete mad. I think that's what will have to have happened. I make Pete mad, and then he'll kick me out.
So now I'm curious. You're someone who's listened to POTU first, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So you kind of got that side of Steve, like the chill, laughy, hanging out with, this sexy guy, and like just, positive fun and blah, blah, blah. And then so you must have transitioned at one point, like, I better check this out or something, right? I mean, how'd that happen?
It happened when I started to get into Mythic Legions. I was like, I want to hear more about it, and so I started listening because obviously, Steve and Travis and everyone's into Mythic Legions, and they've even had Corn Boy and stuff on. So I thought that was cool, and I started listening because, I wanted, more exposure to it. Someone who's, had more experience with it to, talk about them. So I'm like, oh, I'll listen to this, and then I was just like, oh, this is completely different than what I was expecting.
What did Steve did his because it's not really a different Steve, it's just a different side of his personality. So was that like a shock for you?
No,
or was it just a natural progression type of deal?
No, it reminded me a little bit of myself because there's different sides of me, his POTU would remind me of me on Geek-Men and more of my honestly public persona, but how he acts on My Wife Is Gonna Kill Me is more like how I am with a few select people that I joke around with that can take my twisted sense of humor. But again, because I have a twisted sense of humor, but I don't mean it because I am, sincerely, I do care about people, and obviously that's what this podcast is about, positivity and creating positive change and stuff like that. That's what my, organization's all about. So it just reminded me of a little bit more of me. So it's just another side to him. So it's,
right on.
I was able to accept that.
And I do need to make a public announcement, and that's to Bo. I totally messed up your name, and I know I've been corrected and I've apologized for it, but now that I know how to pronounce chapel.
I've grown up. At this point, I tell everybody at doctor's offices, just anywhere where I go. Both are acceptable because I've just heard them both. So.
Well, and I never, like, I look at all these, like, names, and I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce that, but, like, I say it beforehand, like, I'm going to slaughter your name, but that one was a 50-50, So.
Yeah, the double P is deceptive.
Yep.
So I hold no ill will.
All right. So I had to address it. So I now know how to say your last name. So I'm very proud. It was a learning experience, a growing experience, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could get past this. For years.
I mean, you honestly do a better job at doing names and naming names and saying names than a certain co-host on another podcast that Steve knows quite well.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Helen Keller could do a better job than Travis. So.
But to be fair, it's
names are hard. For sure, man. I would not want to be.
Before I saw how it was spelled.
We should give them the name of our guest on our Halloween episode just for fun.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
That would be interesting to see how he would pronounce that.
I'd attempt it. I got psyched out when she was on. Like I was supposed to say it. I got psyched out. I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, you did. I put you on the spot too, and I didn't mean to.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
I was prepared to do it, but then I don't know. It didn't happen. But anyway, I digress. So let's geek out. You guys have a podcast that is dedicated, not just casually talked about occasionally. It is dedicated to Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
How's that going for you?
It's going great.
Yeah.
It's going fantastic. I'll tell you what. When I wanted to make a podcast, even before my wife was going to kill me, the one thing I really wanted to do was make a He-Man podcast. I couldn't do that because I hadn't met my other half yet. I only had Travis and P, and so I thought, well, let's make the show about us three guys and all the stuff we can cover a very broad base, and I can still talk about Masters of the Universe whenever I get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, that thing happened for a couple of years before I met Jeremy. And then when we met, and it was his sleeve of Masters of the Universe tattoos that I saw that I was like, okay, so this guy's
serious.
He's legit.
I wasn't fronting.
He's legit.
I mean, you get something thrown down on your skin.
Yeah.
That's a pretty deep love.
Jeremy will tell you, I thought I was a real jerk back when we first met. But yeah,
only kinda.
So we met and kind of became fast. Only kind of what?
I only kind of thought you were a jerk when we first met. He was so quiet and just, I don't know. He's all stocky and like I just thought he hated me. But that's how I am anyway. I always think people hate me, but he just had this extra stank on it or something. I don't know what it was. He just shot me this look. Maybe it was because it was probably love,
It was love.
He was trying to deny it.
So anyway, so then we ended up trying, I thought, well, here's my partner. Here's the way we can do this. We can have a He-Man podcast. And so we did, and we started, and at first we were like, man, because I mean, if you think back to when we started, there was things going on, but there's way more going on for He-Man now.
For sure.
And I feel like we were kind of a little bit like, well, I hope we have enough material to talk about. And I will tell you, and I think Jeremy will tell you, we have a hard time keeping it to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
An episode.
Yes, definitely. There's so much information. Like just lately, though, the news has been a little light, but prior to that, like not only the news and all these new things happening, but people interacting with us and sending us questions and just like random ideas and just stuff like that. And plus, I mean, him and I just like we talk, we go back and forth. And it's like, man, I want to keep doing this. Like, I don't want to end. So Yeah. I mean, how do you? I always wanted to have a podcast. You know, how do you listen
Right.
to like all these other guys and go, man, I want to talk too, but they're not going to listen to me. So,
Right.
you know, meeting somebody like Steve, he's like, do you want to do a Masters podcast? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do a Masters podcast, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, and you know, I would say listening from the beginning, probably, you know, your toy reviews are great, and I would say what really started to click and turn the tide to make it really more entertaining was when you guys started doing the voices in the mini comics. that was what made it more entertaining for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great to begin with, but when you went from just describing the panels to actually doing the voices, you know, that was over the top. So that, I think, added an extra bit of flair and character to the podcast that really sort of drives those subscriptions home. You know what I mean? Subscribers.
I have to give Travis Bowles from My Wife Is Going to Kill Me a little credit for that. Because me and Jeremy, we're the type of guy, we both, even before we met, I know he did it and I do it too. I'm always doing voices. I'm always talking like somebody. I'm always doing something stupid. And I know he does the same thing. So it's kind of part of our personality. So in the beginning, that would just happen organically. Yeah. But I would try to keep a lid on it. Like I would do my merman and then I would be like, okay, I'm done with that. Because people are going to hate that. Yeah. And it was Travis. Who said, Travis, he has a very short attention span, and he say your show is boring, but I love it when you do voices in the mini comic. So in his opinion, the whole show is boring, but he loves that.
Yeah, so, he's like, you could tell that you guys were keeping a lid on it because you would be like, oh, it would probably sound like this. You know how you do your merman with the all liquidy sounding. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, oh, he would probably sound like that. And it's just like, he probably would. But then, boom, on the lid it goes and, you know, on to the next thing.
First mini comics were more like little stories. So there wasn't a lot of room to do that stuff anyway. Yeah. But, like, as it started going on, like, you know, we didn't have a plan. It was just like, like you said, you know, it'd just be like a word here or there or like a sentence. And then, I mean, aside from Travis saying that, I think we also were just started doing it. Like, you can't hold that back. Yeah,
it's hard. Especially when you're describing it and stuff.
Right. And Steve's got, plus the stories themselves became more like stories. I mean, like as it goes on, it's like, it's so funny. There's so much dialogue, but like Steve doing things like, you know, Merman, that was like, oh my God, that sounds awesome. It's like perfect. And then but the best ones to me, like when he does like his He-Man, he comes in there and he's got like this personality. He just made it up himself, you know? And I'm like, oh, bless his heart, because that is so good.
Yeah. That was awesome.
What is your favorite voices to do personally?
Oh.
What do you look forward to when you see it? Oh, I get to do this guy again.
Me would probably be Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Rock Warriors. anytime we can do the Rock Warriors, I love to do Merman. Hordak is fun for me. I pretty much like every voice I've ever done. No, I don't. There's a few that are stinkers, but no. And I love Jeremy. I've really come to love Jeremy's.
Yeah.
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 Which you got a compliment about at PowerCon, didn't you? And you were worried.
Yeah, a couple of them actually. When we were getting ready to board the bus from Disney, like straight out from Disney, Steve and I were getting ready to get on the bus to the shuttle to go back to the hotel, go into PowerCon to register and get our figures and all that stuff. And we saw a couple guys that had one of the guys had a backpack with He-Man on it, and I loudly said, you know, like, I bet you these guys are going to PowerCon or something stupid like that, and turn around, like, I thought that was you guys, recognize your voices and all that, which is still super weird to me. But then we had a big conversation on the way back, and it was all about the podcast and how much they love it, and especially the voices and all this stuff. And like they're like, well, who does this voice and who does this voice? And then they're like, who does Extendar? And I'm like, oh man, because at this point we had found out that they were a gay couple. It was two men, they were a gay couple. So when somebody says I was so nervous. He said, he looks at me and says, who does Extendar? And I'm like, it's me. He's like, as a member of the gay community, I love it and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, thank God. I was a little worried because he is a bit flamboyant or whatever, but I just thought it was.
You're like, you're sweating.
Yeah. It's a fun voice to do. It's there's a little lisp and he's a little just kind of happy and fun, and I just thought it was a fun voice to do. And even Steve was kind of worried about that one.
I'm always worried. I'm always worried about offending.
Yeah, because we don't want to offend anybody, but it's like, you hear all these stereotypical voices throughout the years, and they're fun ones and they're good ones to do, but you can't sometimes, because you will offend people, and we don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. We just want to have fun, Right. But anyway, so these guys, they loved it. Not only that, but I ran into Penny Dreadful, and she said the same thing. She said she was jogging or something like that, and her MP3 player had our podcast downloaded to it, and I said, like, I'm Extendar and I get big. And she said she had to like stop running. She said it was so hilarious, and she's transgender, so I mean, she was like, I love it, this is great, keep like, oh, thank you. That's all. Plus she's got a great podcast too, so I listen to theirs too. So
yeah, it's very noticeable. You guys have just some of the best fans.
Yeah.
And the way you interact with them and keep them, in the loop on things, and constantly doing contests and asking for questions. Everybody's just so happy to get involved. It's such a fun group to be a part of because everybody's always sharing things, artwork, pictures.
Right.
The random ideas are so fun.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We listen to tons of podcasts, and I know that Steve listened to all the He-Man podcasts as well. So, I mean, we were kind of well-versed in what we've heard before in a He-Man podcast. And I don't know that we really set out to do anything like groundbreaking or anything, but we definitely didn't want to copy anybody. Nobody wants to do that, And so we just kind of tried to do our own little things. I'm like, we should have like I don't know who brought it up, but it was like, we should have a special thing each week. And I think before we even called it Random Ideas, Steve brought in that record, and we listened to, the Masters of the Universe, the storyline with my favorite canon with the evil, super deep, awesome Skeletor voice and all that stuff.
Oh, gives me chills.
And we would just kind of come up with ideas, like, what should we do this week? Like, this will be dumb. Let's, I guess because we're both dumb. Maybe that's just it.
Well, I knew that I knew we couldn't bring much to the table, but we could bring personality.
Yeah.
That's fair. I would say that.
I mean,
I think you say that every week.
Well, and that's because it's true. I mean, if I'm being honest, I would say that it's not that we're not capable. We could research stuff and bring a bunch of facts, and this happened, and then this happened, and blah, blah, blah. But there are other podcasts that... So who wants to listen to that all the time? So I thought... I just felt that if we did something more fun, more lighthearted, more real, more just sheer joy of being a fan, that maybe, it would be different than the other podcasts and hopefully be infectious.
Yeah. I can tell you, sure, I would love to listen to He-Man facts all day, but getting to talk about and plan and then think about planning in my own head, Masters of the Universe theme park, that's way more fun.
Right. Well,
right.
That, if you think about it, like when you have a specific, type of podcast, this being He-Man, and there's several other podcasts out there, there's going to be fans like I was and still am, who will listen to every single Masters podcast. And if you're given the same information, the same stuff, and they're going to drop somebody, you know. And I don't want to, you know, you don't want to be like a carbon copy, anything else, and just kind of roll the punches and then you get dropped off because, you know, you're boring.
Yeah.
And Steve and I make each other giggle, so.
Which is always fun and infectious. It's good chemistry, so it's entertaining.
Yeah.
So if you haven't caught on by now, you should be listening to Podcasters of the Universe.
Yep, I agree.
Definitely join the Facebook group too. It's like a whole other facet that gets you really involved in the show. So you look forward to listening to it when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, we try to hype it up and stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's fun. We're obsessed with He-Man. How can you not want to talk about it all the time, you know, and show things and share things? And I mean, it's surpassed my Ninja Turtle love.
What a time to be a He-Man fan.
You know, there was actually some new news that I think dropped today, and that is that they are possibly going to ship that movie over to Netflix as opposed to being released theatrically. So they're in talks with Netflix right now.
Interesting.
So, yeah. But, I mean, hey, we're talking about a He-Man movie.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows?
I feel like I did see that, but then brushed it off because it was like, this must be something different or an old rumor, and I just, blah, 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 you know, whatever.
No,
didn't take much stock in it.
Something about it possibly being a big risk for Sony or something, and Netflix won't be a big risk, but the thing is, then sales are going to be a lot different. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, you're right. There's a lot to talk about with He-Man these days, especially the fact that we are talking about, you know, a movie where they actually have cast He-Man. If it ever comes out, we'll never know until it happens.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, just even the whole the cartoon and I mean the cartoon and then, you know, She-Ra, love it or hate it. I know I'm excited about it. My kid's excited about it. We just watched the trailer for season 4 last night. So pretty excited about that. So I mean, there's just so much going on, and then the toy line next year. It's just like that's gonna be on pegs next year.
I know, it's kind of freaky.
Returning back to stores, which is insane. Like giving kids the opportunity to go into a toy store or go into the toy section, pick up a He-Man figure themselves. Yeah,
and with box art and all this wonderful stuff, I mean, it is pretty awesome. I mean, going to PowerCon this year was very fun, of course, and getting all that information, you know, while you're there, and you can just feel the electricity in the air, all these people talking about it and stuff. It's like, you know, and they said everything perfectly. It was like, here's all these toys that you're gonna love. Awesome. Here's this, you know, TV series that's going to come out, and Kevin Smith is going to, you know, show run it and all this stuff. You're like, what? Yeah. You're just freaking out. So yeah, it's a pretty good year. I've had some fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's super exciting. You know, I can't wait for that cartoon. Can't wait.
No, it's good.
But
the crossover, they're like pretty much doing their own Spider-Verse.
The comic book.
The comic. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm definitely all in for that. The covers look amazing so far. I'm trying not to read the synopsis. I read the synopsis for like issue 2 or something, and it's like, it's more than I wanted to know. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing though. I'm in. You know, I'm in every time anyway. You know, regardless. But this one actually sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'm down.
Just thinking that a movie He-Man could meet a Filmation Skeletor. I mean, that's so imaginative and so great. I'm pretty pumped up about this one.
And the potential to make I don't know, the Space He-Man cool.
Yeah.
Right.
The new adventures. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of success with that Power Rangers run. I mean, they're still doing it. They're just hyping up what was in our head as kids.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of give it
Yeah, they're doing a great job over there, for sure. But the people that are doing that comic, I'm enjoying all those crossovers. But yeah, I can't wait for that. But I don't know. What else are you guys into? I know Jeremy's into Turtles. Steve, you like G.I. Joe. What else? What else you got going on? You collect toys. He-Man. You're all up in that nonsense.
Oh God, I am. I love me the huge G.I. Joe fan. G.I. Joe is probably my second love to Masters of the Universe as far as toys concerned. Big Star Wars fan. Love the Star Wars franchise. I do huge into Mythic Legions. Huge into I'm not huge into the Transformers masterpiece stuff, but I definitely have a few of them and really am enjoying them. That's kind of the big ones. I mean, I collect the Marvel Legends that I feel I gotta have. There's a few gotta haves that come out, but I really, I don't collect those really too much. And I get my Star Wars collecting is mostly Hot Toys Star Wars.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Other than that, and that's a lot of stuff right there, especially if you think about how much all that crap costs, which I don't like to think about.
No. Or tell people about.
And you can't say Hot Toys and not hear like ching, just money being emptied.
Yeah, and I pre-ordered Qui-Gon Jinn from episode 1 like 2 minutes before we Skyped and started this. So
I haven't even seen that one. The last thing I saw was the when they showed off the Mandalorian and IG-11.
Oh yeah. Very
Are you going to get both of those?
I don't know. I started out saying I'm going to limit myself to original trilogy, and I did that for quite a long time until something about Anakin Skywalker. When he came out, I was like, all right, I gotta have Anakin. And then they did Obi-Wan, and I was like, well, I gotta have Obi-Wan from episode 3. And then they did Maul, and I'm like, well, I gotta have Maul. And now they did Qui-Gon. I'm like, well, I gotta have Qui-Gon. So now I'm going down this prequel kind of track. So, and I don't know how far that'll go. There's a lot of characters from the prequels I don't need a little Anakin, and I don't need a 14-year-old Padme. And, so there's a lot of them I can live without. But
did you get the grizzled desert Obi-Wan?
I did not. I think it's really cool. Kyle Moore, a friend of ours, he got that, and I got to see that in person, and it's really, really nice. But I'm really trying to stay to the movies, and I would like to get myself back into the original trilogy. So, as cool as The Mandalorian is, I just don't know what to do. If I order it, I don't think I'll regret it if I order it. But if that comes out and it's awesome, I might regret not ordering it. So, pretty safe to say I probably should just order it.
Probably.
I think you just talked yourself into it.
Yeah. Like $300 insurance just in case.
It's one of those that you can always sell it, because I don't think it's going to be. I mean, just you were talking yourself into it on the "My Wife Is Going to Kill Me" episode. You were talking about how awesome Filoni and Favreau are, and how this is going to be great. It's going to be a hit. It's going to be a home run. And looking at the Black Series Mandalorian figure you got, and now you're like, I don't know. Okay, so to be fair, the price difference between a Black Series Mandalorian and a Hot Toys Mandalorian is significant, but
a few $100 there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm obsessed with Mandalorians, so I have
with Mandalorians in general.
Yeah. I don't have Hot Toys, but I have the 12-inch tall Star Wars figures that they had from the 90s, and I made sure to get Jango and Boba Fett. Have both of those. I actually have those out on my shelf. So Jedi and Mandalorians, they're my thing. So it's just hard not to. But Yeah.
It is, unless you're Jeremy DeWitt and you don't care about Star Wars in the least.
No, I not so much. Now I have seen a majority of the movies, and I don't hate them, but I'm just I don't know. I never got into it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, space. I don't like space stuff.
It was my thing. So between He-Man, Thundercats, and Star Wars, that was my. I only had 3 tapes. We didn't have cable or television. Our TV was broke. We had a VCR that was hooked up to a TV, and we had those tapes. So I didn't even have the original Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back. I had Return of the Jedi. So I had Return of the Jedi, a Thundercats tape, and a He-Man tape. And that was what I watched when I wanted to watch TV. And then I would go play with my He-Man figures. I would go play with my, cars or whatever other figures that I had. And that was it. And then we moved and actually got TV. And that's when Turtles came out and I started getting into Turtles and, other things like that. But, yeah, it was Star Wars for me from day one. That's like one of my earliest memories is getting up every day and watching Return of the Jedi. So.
Well, another
cool.
thing too for me, like there's a possibility like over the years I could have maybe gotten more into it, but I have this friend who's like super obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have someone who and I used to work next to him all the time, we've been friends since kindergarten, and just when they're that obsessed and literally every other word is something about Star Wars, and it starts to grate on you a little bit.
Yeah. No, I totally get you. I had friends like that, and that's where I just had to let my love shine through them and over them and greater. So that's why I shared some pictures on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. My collection had to be greater. So it was no problem there. I made sure to outshine. I had to know the most. I have that weird OCD thing, so if it's something I like, I had to know it. Right. I was on StarWars.com every day reading and read all the books and, I like this stuff. Nope, no you don't, because I know more about it. No, I wasn't that bad, but I did learn a lot about it, and now it's all irrelevant.
I got a question. Considering all this is renaissance of nostalgia that's, they're bringing back all these properties and we're getting to relive them and revive them. Is there anything that you loved as a kid that for some reason hasn't come back and you'd love to see come back?
Call of Thundercats.
Okay. Well, Thundercats kind of did, though, because you have the 2011 Thundercats. If I were to pick one, God, this is so hard. Well, a lot of things have tried, okay, but something that has never, ever tried has been Silverhawks.
Mm.
And
That's
I
fair.
would love to see something else with Silverhawks. They had really awesome, cool bag dudes, and the good guys were all like partly metal, partly real. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And they could all fly, and they had cool face mask things, and Copper Kid talked all weird. And, yeah, I like that.
One of them was literally a space cowboy.
Yes. And he played his guitar and rocked everybody's faces off.
Yeah, that's good interest. That's probably mine personally. What about you, Steve? Yeah.
Yep.
No, it would be Mask for
Mask. Okay.
Mask. I think is an amazing toy line, and I think it really has some really cool potential. And I would love to see that get rebooted. There's been talk of it for a while that they're going to do this whole universe thing with G.I. Joe and Mask and Transformers, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really going to happen or what. But regardless, I think that Mask should get another go.
Yeah, I was disappointed that didn't happen in Bumblebee. There was rumors that John Cena's character, or was it John Cena? Or whoever it was supposed to be Mask.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that one. That's interesting.
That would have been cool, but then he just ended up being S7, part of S7, which was part of Transformers movies already. So I was like, oh, that's a bummer. It would have been cool if all of a sudden, years later, they're, now, adapting technology and stuff like that. Like the Mask people did. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. I mean, they're all Hasbro. They're all shared universe stuff, so it's legit. Could work.
It could if they were to do Mask figures in the 3 3/4 scale to be like G.I. Joe size.
Oh, yeah.
And then come out with some of those vehicles. That would blow my mind.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I never got into that or had any of those as a kid.
I only had one. I had the motorcycle that turned into the helicopter.
Mm.
I had that Corvette, was it like a Aquamarine Corvette? That thing was awesome. I miss that thing. Kill myself for not knowing what happened to all these old toys.
Mine was my mom. I know. She admitted to it years later.
I still have all of mine, unfortunately and fortunately.
Really? All your toys from when you were a kid?
Yep, every single one.
Oh man, yeah. My mom, we would have, we had a toy box downstairs, and we would just chuck them all in there. Well, it was so big, it started to overflow, and we had paper bags, and just filled to the top. Well, I would mix my figures, so new stuff, old stuff, it didn't matter. And my mom took a couple of the paper bags and threw them away without me knowing. But I had just gotten a little RoboCop figure and a Rocksteady for Ninja Turtles. And I'm like, dude, I literally just got Rocksteady. Where is he? Where's my little RoboCop? What is going on? And my mom just played it off. I don't know.
Oh, gosh. That's terrible.
I still hold out hope that I'm going to in the future, get to going back in the past and steal my toys from myself. And that's where they went.
Stop myself from opening them.
Yeah.
Just put them on the wall, dude. Trust me.
That's what happened to them. I just haven't stolen them yet.
I might stop myself from opening certain ones that broke. Like, for instance, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Chrome Dome. I was just playing with it, trying to make it stand, because, he had that one awkward foot on the toes like most turtles did. And
the worst.
I moved that foot back, and then the entire body just crumbled.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't being forceful. I still have all my toys. That's a testament to how gentle I was as a kid. And it just crumbled.
See, I had a foot soldier I got for my birthday one year. And its leg... Oh, wow, it's
Steven, are you okay?
Right. Its leg had broken off in right when I opened up the package, it fell right off. And so I wrote Playmates a letter and said, I just got this. I could have brought it to the store, but I think it was probably a gift from a friend or something. But anyway, I told him, the whole story. I opened it up and it was a gift, and the leg just broke right off. And I also added in there. Also, Michelangelo's nunchucks always. I probably said it and whatever, but I was 10, and I'm not kidding. A few weeks later or something, I got a letter and in an envelope, and it was from Playmates, and they were an apology. Sorry, your figure was broken. All this stuff. They sent me a new foot soldier. And they sent me a weapons rack with nunchucks on it.
Nice.
For free. I was like, oh, man, Playmates.
Playmate.
Yeah.
Good on them, man.
Spot in my heart for them for the rest of my life, I'll give them a free pass a lot of the time.
Good on them, man. That's awesome. Jeez, a whiz. See what writing letters gets you? When I was a kid, I was, they're never going to read that. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm just a kid.
Nope, somebody's got to pick up those letters and check them out. So.
Oh man, that's awesome. Turtles is one of those lines that I just love. They had such great figures.
Now, see, Steve cut off after I think we figured out the other day wave 2 or something like that.
Yes.
So he knew Slash beyond that, but I'm gonna ask everybody, I guess, but I'm looking at Steve's face as I say this. Turtles Classics Super 7. You getting them?
Oh yeah, I'm in. That's though they look so great, and I do have nostalgia for that. And when the Horsemen are involved and they're sculpting things, even those later characters that are kind of ridiculous, they can do what they did with the New Adventures characters. They can work that same magic. I mean, everything they're gonna do is gonna be gold.
That's true. I mean, a Monty Moose, that's awesome.
I love Monty Moose. I just want them to go far enough to make Usagi Yojimbo, and then I'll be happy.
There you go.
And an Ace Duck, maybe? Oh, Ace Duck.
There's a lot of potential there. I'm curious.
Mondo Gecko.
I wonder if there's going to be like variants and stuff too. Like what would be cool is if they did like heads for like the storage shell turtles, because they were always like really gnarly and had like bigger expressions and all that stuff. And I don't know, my brain's going nuts with it. But
yeah.
And then on top of that, NECA's still putting out their cartoon version of the figures, and I'm picking those up too. Thank you, Dustin, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, happy to do that.
My question is, are they going to do the weird ones like that there's that Michelangelo that's like swimming, he's got like flippers on his feet. And,
yeah, surfer Michelangelo.
I mean,
Leo.
Yes.
Donnie? Which one was Denver Storm?
Oh,
Leo.
I don't remember one was which, but they had a whole like mutant military line.
Yeah.
And give me the bodacious birthday Mikey or whatever it was. He's a clown or something like.
That would be weird. I don't know. I could do without those personally, but.
Oh yeah, they definitely would.
Mutagen Man.
Oh yeah, somebody like that, Muckman and Mutagen Man. Those dudes are
sure.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know. Can you make them any better than the newest iteration of it? Because I thought the newest toy was awesome, the one that they made for the 2012.
Oh, for Muckman?
Yeah.
Or, well, I still have a spot for the vintage one, man.
The vintage one is cool. Don't get me wrong, but I thought the new one was pretty update. If you're talking about updating it.
Yeah, I think they did Muckman really well. Mutagen Man might have been a little bit iffy. I still liked the concept, and it was a little scarier since it was some kid who just got all ruined by mutagen.
For sure.
But the vintage mutagen man has metal parts holding his arms together, and there's like torn muscle and skin, and it's just like there's like a bone I think sticking out his knee or something crazy. I love stuff like that, and not to mention inside, of course, it's like floating eyeballs and like a brain and all the guts and stuff you can put inside him. And come on, man, that stuff's awesome. God, there's so much potential here. So this line's gonna be
I certainly hope it goes does well for sure. I don't know, I haven't decided yet.
They're expensive. They're pricey.
They are. And I went heavy. On Mythic Legions.
You hear it in his voice, right? The heavy is an empty wallet.
Yeah, he's a little ashamed of himself.
But yeah, so it's like, oh man, did I just do that? Like, why? Why? Because it's amazing. And so I don't know. And I did Thundercats Classics. So.
Oh yeah, I did not do that.
It's like Thundercats was huge for me, and I didn't get in on them when they were the Mattel ones. So, like, the only Lion-O I have, I don't even have the Bandai Lion-O. The only Lion-O I have is the original one. So it's like, I would like an updated Lion-O.
There you go.
Without spending, thousands of dollars.
Steve's going to have both. He's going to have Mattels and Super 7s.
Yeah. So, it's definitely one of those things as he's showing off his Mythic Legions.
Yeah. That's
I do it at home. It's
Yep. I want those trolls so bad, and it's a good thing I didn't have money because someone in one of the groups that I think it was the Cabal, or maybe my wife was gonna kill me. He's like, "Hey, here's all 4 of my trolls. I'm selling them, and here's the money."
I saw that.
And I'm just like, I don't have that money right now. No, I'm thinking like, I started thinking through all my credit cards. Like, do I have that much money on this credit card? Do I want to put it on this credit card? It's just like, no, I shouldn't. Be responsible.
Being responsible is no fun.
Well, I was taking your advice, Steven. You said, go in on the pre-orders.
Yes.
And then go back and fill your stuff on All-Star Waves or, trade for stuff. So I got in I got stuff from the All-Star Wave or the in-stock sale. I love Snag. He's cool. I got stuff on the in-stock sale, and then I got, I went all in. Well, I didn't go. Well, I got the Aerther. I can't talk.
Yeah.
The Aerther Wave.
Aerther.
Yeah, Aerther. Thank you. And got a little extra to trade and or sell for potential filling in of back collection. Next year.
Good store. Good strategy.
But it doesn't stop tempting me from it's like, I didn't get this or I didn't get that. And it's like I keep scrolling through Big Bad Toy Store like, I could pre-order that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's like, I could order that guy and he could be here this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's why I'm glad I limit myself.
And I've been doing, my action figure customs. So
okay.
I've gotten some of those, and then it's like, now I need bodies for them, and now I need to paint them, and it's like, well, nope, don't buy those yet.
So for your listeners, my action figure customs are they're custom heads that can come either unpainted or painted, and they fit with Mythic Legions, giving you tons of options.
Yes, a whole new figure essentially.
Are you getting them painted, or are you painting them yourself?
Well, I got the helmet from Kauros, so I got the feet and helmet painted, but all the others I've picked up haven't been painted, so I'll be painting them myself. I don't have a Hobby Lobby in my backyard to hit up, so.
Do you offer a Steve and Jeremy head?
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I wish. That would
be funny. Probably the closest would be that dwarf head that has the thing that curls out. That has the beard that curls out like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, I've seen that.
But yeah, no, I mean, they're cool. And so, yeah, anyway, but back to the Turtles. It's like, I'm thinking about maybe, doesn't Big Bad Toy Store, like, you can pre-order them, but you don't have to pay for them until they get here?
Yeah, yes. You can definitely do that.
So I'm thinking about maybe doing that through Big Bad Toy Store, so I can, at least I might pick and choose, like, because what sold me on the idea of them was when you were talking to Corn Boy, Steven, and they're not the normal size turtle. They're, 6 inches, or they're larger. Probably, they're more like Mythic Legion size.
Probably closer to 7, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what interested me. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. These are a lot bigger, and they look like the toys that I played with as a kid. Like, that is cool to me.
What are you showing us, Jeremy?
You have to remember, we need context because we only have it's audio only.
Well, he unzipped his pants and it's purple.
You got there. I do. I see this long thing creeping into frame.
I see this long purple thing creeping into frame. I don't know.
I'm sitting in my basement. There's some toys that I just got, and they're just kind of sitting over there. And I seen Steve messing with his toys, so I'm like, I reach over and I got a meteor here from
if if somebody would have told me when I was younger that I'd be 40 years old downstairs in my basement talking to some people on a phone and picking toys up and putting them in front of the camera so others can see them, I'd be like, what the hell happened to you? What's wrong with you?
It's like, hey guys, check this out.
Have you seen this?
I got dinosaur.
It's like I truly did not grow up at all. I just got fatter.
Well, you're a big kid now. Just the wrong kind of big that you thought you'd be.
We took that Toys R Us song to heart, man.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. And, you know, I don't know. To me, that's the fun thing. I never intended on growing up. Never.
No, I mean, I still haven't. I just got some responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah. And that's why it's
yeah,
kids, you know, it's like train them to be self-sufficient so that way you can still have fun.
I can seriously remember sitting on my bedroom floor and I was playing with the G.I. Joe Snowcat and Frostbite. I had gotten it recently for Christmas, and I remember having this thought. I was thinking to myself, what will make me not like toys anymore? Because, you know, I'd seen my older brother, who's 8 years older than me, grows up, and he stopped kind of playing with toys, and that's just what grown-ups don't play with toys.
Yeah.
So I remember contemplating as a young kid, what's going to happen that makes me not like toys? Because I don't see why I would stop liking this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I had that thought, and now I'm a 40-year-old guy that's in a basement full of toys.
Yeah.
And don't show we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Two shows.
Yeah. I can honestly say that I never stopped. Like, you hear about people that, like, oh, you know, I stopped collecting toys and got into girls. I got into girls, but I still went to the toy section. I still would, ooh, I like that. Oh, look, there's a Storm Shadow Snake Eyes 2-pack with a DVD of them fighting. I'm buying this. You know, it's like, I'd buy that. Or, ooh, look at that Beast Wars Transformer. I'm buying that. Or, you know, like...
Yep.
I would still go and pick stuff up, you know?
I remember when I was 19 for my birthday, my girlfriend bought me like a Ninja Turtle, you know, something from it was one of those like just one of those weird offshoot ones near the end, like some weird mystical Donatello, and I don't know, it's so weird. But yeah, just stuff like that, like for, you know, Christmas and birthdays, like, you know, even 19, 20 stuff, like they just knew. It's like he's dorky and he loves this stuff, and they never like made fun of me. They just bought me stuff. So. Yeah,
it was just accepted. Like my circle of friends, we sort of got into like DC superheroes. So like my one friend had a black Camaro and he had Batman floor mats. He was into Batman. But then all these friends, we all started hanging out, and none of them would have hung out together if it wasn't for me. So we were talking one day, and they were like, that sort of makes you like Superman if we were like sort of a Justice League. So, because I was also into Superman, but I also like Batman equally, but you know what I mean. But so then my nickname became Superman, so I started getting Superman things for birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that. So, and my nickname was Superman. And then we started looking at our other friends, and it's like, wait a minute. Oh, this friend drives a red Eclipse and likes to drive fast everywhere he goes. It's an obsession. That's the Flash. And it's like, that one has a giant green class ring. That's a Green Lantern. You know? So just like every one of our friends just weirdly had this like persona from the Justice League. And then we all started buying each other stuff, sometimes toys, but it was like memorabilia. So that was like an excuse to continue buying toys and comics and stuff, as like, and it sort of just snuck in there, and it was like, all right, this is cool. So I don't know, never grew up.
I like to credit games probably for a big part of that, because like at every age you're still like, it's still cool to play video games no matter what. And you know, when I was in my like early 20s and stuff like that, hanging out with all my friends, everybody still like dude, you have a Nintendo? Yes, let's play. You know, and you'd sit around for hours, and, you know, play Double Dragon or something. It's like, it just never stopped. And they always knew that I was the guy with the Nintendo. So wherever I lived, everyone, you know, would usually follow and party, but the Nintendo would always be brought out, you know, and figures would, you know, inevitably come into play.
Yeah, you have an impressive collection of Nintendo games.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger too. And you know, the funny thing is, I don't even need to play them at this point because I have like one of those, you know, Raspberry Pi things. And, and
it's just having them.
Yeah, but it's just collecting them, having them. I'm looking at them all now.
It's the art.
Just so many.
It's the feel of the box. You know, like there's a difference between like seeing the cartridge and seeing the art on it. It's a complete difference than just clicking on a ROM and then the game comes up. It's a different experience. Sure, you may like leave it like pristine, and play the ROM still, so that way it preserves the game. But you know, still.
Oh yeah, and plus you don't get the awesome, you know, point in the game where you made it to level 7 and you can't save it because it's a Nintendo game, and then the game inevitably just randomly freezes on you, and the reset button goes off. Or, you know, that's always a good
time. Are you guys gonna kiss?
No, I think
we're trying.
Closer and closer.
Yeah, that's some just classic immaturity.
No, that was awesome. That was funny. We were seeing some real life
Nintendo games.
Romance. Yeah.
It's also you know, it's great to have them anyway. You know, it's that ROM thing it's not the same, but you know, I love it when people come over and they're like, "Oh my god, like I gotta look at all these games. You got this, you got that, Contra." Lolo? Nobody knows Lolo. I'm like, hey, I know Lolo.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, you love to geek. You love to geek out. You got tons of stuff you're into. Where do you see it? I think you've even talked about it before, but let's say 10 years from now, where does it keep growing, or do you stop at some point, or... Do you see what's the point where you're like, you know what, I'm done with this?
Yeah, that's a good question, Steve. Do you ever still ask yourself that question? Is there a point where I'll stop loving it?
Yeah, I have asked myself that question, and I don't think there is a point where I'll stop loving it. I do see myself, and I've already done this with a few things. Like, I started out with, for instance, the Star Wars Black series, 6-inch Star Wars figures, and in the beginning I got them. I hunted every single one down, and I was amassing this great big collection. And now I've gotten to the point where I don't have the space for all the figures. They're beautiful figures. I love them, even the ones that are coming out now. But I've gotten to the point where I've started to kind of cherry pick, and the reason is for space and money, and I think now I'm putting more effort as far as Star Wars is concerned into Hot Toys. Hot Toys are more expensive, but I don't buy them that often. I might get five a year, 5 or 6 a year, as opposed to waves and waves of other, you know, of Hasbro's Black Series. So I see my collection evolving into actually less quantity and more quality.
Higher end stuff that you know I don't get as often. Because my thing is if I don't like it if I have toys right now that are not displayed. They're in boxes because I don't have the space for them. And that's really what it's going to come down to is the space conundrum. It's not going to ever be, will I fall out of love with it? No, I'll never fall out of love with it because I love art, and the toys are art. The toys are
they're work of art. They're artistic representations of things I love, and I just don't ever see myself not being excited about that like I was when I was a child.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I'm in my get everything that I possibly can phase, which is not a good phase to be in. I've actually stopped myself from picking up a few things here and there, because for a while there I was collecting doubles and triples and whatever of anything and everything just to have it. And like I had some weird thought in my head, like if Mantenna's legs broke and or he melted or something, like I needed to go and grab my replacement. And then, but it was just really dumb. And so I did sell off all of my like doubles and stuff like that, but I even still now I still have a lot of stuff I need to get rid of. But I see myself, because I really will, it'll be the same thing. It'll be like hoarders. Like my basement will be, you won't be able to walk through my basement. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to focus. So I don't I stopped myself from getting the Thundercats. Like that's the start, right?
It's something.
And yet it's like I only wanted 2 figures from that line anyway. So I don't know, man. There's really no rhyme or reason, but it's a little nutty. I am trying to focus, but
yeah, I think I'm there too. Like I feel you.
It's hard, but as long I try to display everything that I own, because otherwise what's the point? And like Steve was saying, so like that was the reason why there's so much stuff down here, is because I did have a lot of things that were just in boxes or put away, and like eventually maybe I'll put those out. And I was like, what's the point of having it if I'm not gonna show it off or whatever? So that's what I did, and now it's kind of ridiculous. But,
yeah.
I made room for Snake Mountain, though, and I still have my drum set down here, so
nice.
Bonus.
That's insane. That's awesome, though. Yeah, I still have stuff in boxes, like all my Star Wars stuff from childhood is still in boxes. My Turtle stuff is still in boxes. I don't have all of it out. So I need to get that stuff out, and then probably the rest of it I would get rid of. Maybe. I have like old Batman figures. I have Beast Wars figures that I would probably, I don't know. I'd probably keep them. Maybe not. I don't know.
See, it's hard, man. It really, like I've taken some stuff out, even recently. Like I took out some old like Spider-Man and like Wolverine and Batman stuff, like, and I like it all, but it's like, man, I got to make a sacrifice somewhere, and that's not my main thing, so I keep the ones that are really cool and then with the rest. So
yeah, for sure. As far as newer lines go, I think I think I would have had an easier time cherry picking the ones I wanted. Like I really only wanted Lion-O and Panthro. But C. Jessom was doing the cape for Mumra. And how do you not get Mummy Mumra? And plus he was doing that awesome cape for C. Jessom, and I wanted to see that cape. So it's like, what if they release, Mumra the Ever Living, and I don't have Mummy Mumra? And what if they actually get to do more of the line, and I don't have all the mutants? Because I didn't get Monkey in. It's like, so I got to get the whole thing. And it's like, well, maybe I'll just get the 2. And I literally went back and forth with my wife for like a month before I finally got them all. But it was that conversation every time. And she's just like, her eyes just kept getting like big as saucers. She's like, yeah, I don't know how you're going to decide. And I'm like, I need your help. You have to tell me what to do. You have to tell me. And she's just like, I think you have to get them all. And I'm like, thank you. That's what I was thinking. But with the turtles, it's like I want them all, but at the same time, maybe I just get the 4 turtles and then some of the other ones. But I love Baxter Stockman. But how do you have the turtles without without Splinter? And how do you have the Turtles without someone to fight, like a Foot Clan? It's like,
Okay. So if you're gonna cherry pick, this is what you gotta do. You gotta have the 4 Turtles, and you gotta have Splinter. You gotta have April O'Neil, and you gotta have Shredder, and you gotta have Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
You could be, in my opinion.
No. Did you say?
Yes.
What about
Yeah.
Casey? Casey, you don't need.
Yeah, don't.
A foot soldier, you don't need.
I don't think so.
Man.
If you're gonna try to be a minimalist with that line, those are my picks.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to do. I'm gonna probably get every damn one of them.
Right. That's what I'll do too.
But I think if I was going to limit it, those would be the must-haves.
With Turtles, for me, it's always easy. Like, of course, I have like tons of crap, but if I had to whittle it down to, a certain amount of figures for each line, it would be the 4 Turtles and Shredder, and the rest don't matter to me. Like, they're great. I mean, they matter. What I'm saying, but like 4 Turtles, because you need all 4 of them. You can't just have one. And
Right.
Shredder, the one big bad guy, because that's always the fights you want to see is those 4 going against Shredder. So, boom.
I could argue
Problem
that you
solved.
could get away with only having Raph because
I like Leo, Mikey, and
Mikey's my favorite.
those are my
turtle,
two.
Yeah.
Plus, even though he's my least favorite turtle, if I was just gonna have one turtle, it would be Leo, because he was the leader and he's the one that embodied every spirit of the turtles. So he was the one who are you gonna send up against Shredder? It's not gonna be Raphael because he's gonna mess up somehow. He's too hot-headed. But Leo, he's collected. He's studied under Master Splinter. He was a brown noser. He's gonna win. That's the guy you got to put out there.
I think they should all do it. I think that was probably my favorite part about the 20 whatever, the Michael Bay one, when all 4 of them were like bouncing and like sort of fighting. Each one of them were like kicking Shredder and hitting them and stuff, taking turns. It's like they're a unit. That's how they should fight. They should be fighting in like, yeah. That's how it should be.
No, I totally agree with that. But if I had to choose,
Yeah, no, I get you. So yeah, I just want Usagi Yojimbo. That's what I want, Usagi.
I could get
Hey,
away
stuck.
with Casey.
Just
Maybe
Casey.
Donnie and Casey.
Interesting.
Similar.
You say Donnie and Casey from the original movie, but in all the cartoons and stuff, it was always Raph and Casey.
I never thought about him as just. Yeah, I get that, but I never really thought about him as. It just happened to be my 2 favorites.
Because they were always like hot-headed and like they went up against each other. But it was in the first movie, it was Donnie and Casey that were like trash talking each other as they were working on the truck trying to get it running. But
Yep.
in all the other movies, it was Raph and Casey that were always butting heads and fighting and stuff like that. That you always see together.
Except for the original cartoon when Casey was just a psycho.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood voiced.
Yeah.
Never took off his mask.
Mm-hmm.
He never had that moment there. Oh,
You know who I really want to see? Speaking of original cartoon, not to interrupt, but to totally interrupt, Rat King.
Oh, see, there you go, Rat King.
That's who I want in this in another line. So like they got Baxter Stockman, good. He was one of my favorite figures as a kid. Rat King. He was one of my favorite villains in the original cartoon.
How do you not like a dude who has alopecia and has a dead cat who got run over by a car for a bell? I mean, that's pretty sweet.
Oh man.
Isn't alopecia when your hair falls?
Yeah, it is. I never knew that he had alopecia. I think you're just making it up. I thought it was because he was losing his mind and pulling it out.
Because if you see the top of his head, he's got like
There's-
just spots missing.
Yeah.
Either he's getting chewed on by the rats and they're pulling out clumps, or he's got alopecia.
Well, that's what I kind of thought. He was losing his mind and was like pulling his hair out, or
So you deduce that from the figure? It's not somewhere in the comic?
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, I just wondering.
Sure won't do. Well, what's coming up on the?
Yeah, what do you guys got going on the horizon? I know you got Muskegon tonight, Jeremy, coming up at the end of the month on Thursdays.
Yeah, except I think this month we're going to have it on Wednesday because Thursday, I think, is Halloween. So, yeah. Yeah, I do the Muskegon tonight thing. That's fun. It's just me and my buddy Andy O'Reilly. It's more him, and I just kind of sit there and look ugly.
You just nod and be like, yeah, that's cool.
Well, Andy's a big, voice in this town. He was a radio guy for years and years, and so everybody kind of knows who he is. And he's does all this really positive stuff, and he's kind of trying to put a spin on Muskegon, our town, because there's a lot of people that trash talk it, and there's a lot of dirty, dingy stuff that happens around here. But on the flip side, there's a lot of really good stuff going on too, and he likes to focus on that stuff. So brings in a lot of really positive influences within our city and the surrounding cities and stuff. And he wanted to take me under his wing and be a part of it. I'm like, I'm in. So yeah, that's on MuskegonChannel.com, and you can watch it as it's playing, and then later on he actually puts it up again so you can watch it, and then puts it into little sections. And sometimes I have a little collecting section on there called Freak Your Geek Out, which Steve was on. And I show off people's collections. And it's not just toys, it's other things as well. New Kids on the Block stuff was a topic. And so, I don't know, it's fun.
Nice. What else you guys got going on coming up?
Oh man, not much. We'll have Grand Rapids Comic-Con is coming up here next month. My wife's gonna kill me gang will all be there. I'm sure Jeremy will be there too. Other than that, not much coming up for me personally. Supposedly, Plastic Crack Season 2 is going to be out soon.
Ooh.
And, not soon. I shouldn't say soon, but he's saying before Christmas, so that's actually not that
soon.
far away.
Yeah, that's actually pretty soon.
And if he really gets that out before Christmas, which I'm really hoping, you'll be able to see me in that. So yeah, check that out. That'll be available on Amazon Prime. Well, it's not Amazon Prime, but and Amazon, and a lot of different outlets. So
yeah. Season 1 was great, and it was cool to see your diorama on featured on there, and cool to hear that you're going to be featured more in Season 2, presumably.
Yeah. Yep. I'll have a little more airtime in Season 2. They're gonna get deep with me a little bit, so it should be interesting.
It sounds awesome.
There you go. Look at that.
Yep.
He's showing us the
Rat
alopecia
King
at the moment.
I love that figure.
I had to, man. I had to.
Full of alopecia.
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
No. I'm down. That's awesome. Hey, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know it's almost Steven's bedtime, and I appreciate it, guys. This has been fun. This has been honestly some of the best podcasting airtime I've spent. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys after I've listened to you guys for so long. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Absolutely.
No, it was fun.
Oh,
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Yeah, we'll have links to everything down below. Definitely, if you haven't heard their show, check it out. Join the group.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
You're going to be.
And we don't have a fancy sign off. We just sort of fumble our way through the ending. You guys do an awesome sign off. But anything you guys want to say before we go?
I just want to say I love Jeremy DeWitt, and I plan on being with him forever. And I don't care what anybody thinks.
Man, I was hoping you'd say that because I feel the same way, baby.
You should see them, everybody. They're blushing.
They are full on red blushing right now. That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, the geekdom is love is in the air, full of geek love. And with that, that's our show. Until next time, I've been Dustin.
I've been both.
Oh, I've been Jeremy.
I've been Steve for a long time.
Have a good one. Good night.
See you guys.
Boom.